Howdy folks, Bodie52 here. Is your motorcycle like that one? And maybe it's because it's new. Or like mine, because it's new. Or is your motorcycle like that one? And who's happier? I bet that guy right there may be even happier. And he has rode his motorcycle. How many people have one and don't ride it? I wonder what the percentage is. I wonder who does that. I wonder, maybe I used to be one of those guys. Well, folks, out and just leaving a Harley dealership, so you can tell it's going to be a good day. Hope this video finds you well. And I wasn't going to do a vlog on the way home, because I try to not always be doing that. Make sure I continue to enjoy the motorcycle with just some tunes. Hopefully not get killed here in this traffic, where people are indecisive. But as I was coming out of the Harley shop, I saw those two motorcycles. A new one, like the blue one. I love that color. It was unlimited, by the way. Kind of like my bike. Really nice, new, shiny. And then I saw the other bike and the guy that rode in on it with his girlfriend. And I'm like, that dude has definitely gotten his share out of his motorcycle. That's a guy you almost want to have a beer with and say, tell me some stories, because you know that guy's rode some miles. Yeah, it's. I know that Harley Day Rider did a vlog on "Buy It to Ride It." I think is what it was titled, and I'll leave that in the description. It was a good video for sure, and I'm looking at that going, dang. I'm kind of jealous. I'm jealous of the guy that has the motorcycle that's a little bit older, that, he's been riding it forever. So, then I'm thinking, there's so many people that you hear out there going, oh, they don't ride it, he's not a real biker, or he is a biker. All that crap, right? And I'm not going to get into that, because I'll tell you what, I think that all motorcycle riders, regardless if you are, quote, an old-time biker, whether you deliver newspapers, whether you're a CEO, whether you work at a gas station, who cares? It's just what we do for a living, right? And I just wonder that, there's so many folks that come from different places, as young, old, new biker, biker that's been riding for years. It doesn't really matter, right? And then I was thinking about, if I'm truthful about myself, so am I one of those guys? I don't want to be one of those guys. The guy that just buys it and leaves it in the garage, and I'm really not, especially this year. But so let's talk about how many miles you go. And is there a threshold? Because I think many of you know that follow my channel, I rode when I was in college, unlicensed. And then after I got married and went off and all that stuff, I didn't buy a motorcycle until 3 or 4 years ago. So when I first got back into motorcycles, I actually ended up with my first Harley, a 16 Street Glide Special. And I did ride that motorcycle, I thought a lot in my mind, which, heck, I don't know, man, 2,000 or 3,000 miles, 4,000 miles. And I know that wasn't a lot. I didn't have a lot of time to do it. It was, I loved riding, but Mrs. Bodie didn't ride. I wasn't vlogging. And I really didn't go on any trips, and I didn't do rides with buddies. I mean, it was just out kind of riding, right? And so And I knew I didn't ride a whole lot. And then I kind of watched people talk about, oh, you're a real rider, why do you got it in your garage? You're not going to ride it, blah, blah, blah. So, honestly, other than, my family, my wife, and good friends, and my mother, God bless her, she's 6 feet in the ground, so I don't necessarily care what people think. Or do I do what people tell me to do? The only person that could do that was my mother, and since she's not around, there's nobody else left. Now, Mrs. Bodine will tell you that my mother passed the baton before she passed away, but since I didn't get verification of that, no way. So, this year, or last year, I started vlogging, really because I watched Sean Smoke on YouTube. I found YouTube, if you will, and actually found HDR, and we started riding, and then our wives became friends, and what are we going to do with this guy in front of us with the bikes that's really riding too slow for me? And then I ended up, as Mrs. Bodine and I went out more, met more friends that wanted to ride. We were going to go to Bike Week. Ended up getting this Ultra Limited because we wanted to do some touring. So, and we really haven't been on any long trips. I think there was another video that I showed that we are getting ready to go on a long trip, which we're super excited about. But really haven't put a lot of miles on the motorcycle. So, as a matter of fact, right now, so I bought this bike in the fall, and didn't get a lot of riding in with the weather. So started obviously this spring, been riding, not a whole lot yet, out a lot. I mean, it's crazy, I can't stop, right? And I have 2,600 miles on it. Yeah, it's nothing, right? Piece of cake. And we're getting ready to go on a motorcycle ride for 2,000 or so. So, the next month I'll put about the same amount on. I'll have 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it. And it'll still be July. So, I could see putting 10, 12, 15,000 miles on a motorcycle this year, which is crazy. Crazy. Oh, and by the way, see this little store and gas station right here? The first time I went on a ride, bike for sale, with Mrs. Bodine and HDR and his wife, we stopped at that gas station. Now, this is when I had a Street Life Special. And we got off, we were kind of taking a break, we wanted to go in to get something to drink. Mrs. Bodine stayed outside, HDR stayed outside, and both myself and Mrs. HDR went inside to get water. Or get a bunch of waters for all of us, right? So I come back out, and Mrs. Bodine looks dead at me and says, now mind you, I've probably been riding with the HDRs maybe an hour at this point, or an hour and a half, and you could tell we got along pretty good quickly, right? She looks at me and she goes, we need to trade the bike. I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah, if we're going to go out riding a lot like this, and maybe go on touring somewhere, we need to get another bike. And I'm like, don't have to mention that a couple more times to me. Let's go now, right? So, just to clarify, HDR should be making the payments on my bike. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I just happened to go by that place, and I had a flashback, and maybe it's because of that store that I got this touring bike now, which is kind of nice. HDR will say I should say thank you. I say that I have a payment now because of him. But, so, the question is, how many miles do you ride? And do you believe in the whole, if you don't ride it a lot, you shouldn't have it? I mean, at the end of the day, people should ride it and do whatever the heck they want with it. They're spending the money, right? But how many miles does it make to be somebody that really got the benefit of their motorcycle? And that guy's bike at the Harley shop, that dude rode some miles. It's got some stories, and he got the miles in. And I that's what we're doing now, and I'm hoping to have a lot of miles on it, and hopefully I have to put one of those fuzzy seat covers on at some point in my life because my bike has been ridden so much that the seats wore down. But I was curious to get feedback from all of you on, does mileage make you a rider or not? And the second thing is, how many miles do you ride average in a year? And what climate are you in, right? So if you're in the northeast like we are, you got 6 months of riding, maybe 7. If you're a guy like Viper in Canada, and by the way, if you don't follow Viper, cool guy, I'll give you a link in the description of his channel, who lives way up, I believe it's northwest Canada, and I feel like it's been 90 degrees and that guy's still been in snow. Maybe you only get to ride 3 months, so let me know, just kind of curious. And which of those bikes do you think had more fun? That nice shiny blue one? Or Big Mama, who's kind of shiny and new too, 2018? Or that bike next to me that you knew that guy had some stories? That is it for me, folks. Thanks for checking in. Love to get your feedback. And as usual, you know, I really, really appreciate you checking in on my channel. If you are not a subscriber and like to see a little more craziness from both myself and Mrs. Bodine, she's not my not so crazy side, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for checking in. Have a great, safe day and week. Appreciate you, and please make sure to be safe on and off the motorcycle. Until next time, Mrs. Bodine checking out. Bye-bye, folks.